Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Lunch and Learn this afternoon. My name is Sarah. I am the Outreach and Public Relations Coordinator for the Park and Forest Foundation. And with me today is Brian Koehler, the Director of the Pennsylvania Park Maintenance Institute. Brian's friends call him BK, so that's what we'll do here today. Welcome, BK.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great. Good to be here. Good to have you here. So today we're talking about the Park Maintenance Institute, of which you are the director. So let's begin with the basics. What is the Pennsylvania Park Maintenance Institute?
Well, the Park Maintenance Institute is in its infancy right now, but it's been on the plan for several years. Actually, it's part of the SCORP, the Pennsylvania Comprehensive Recreation Plan. And it came into kind of a thought back in around 2018 when a plan was put together with Pennsylvania Recreation Park Society, along with DCNR, and they put some money together to support the idea of an organization wholly focused on maintenance issues for parks and even beyond, if you will. Our purpose is to advance the capacity of our community parks because in some of the research that even PPFF has put out there, there is a large deferred maintenance backlog, if you will, out there. And there's been millions upon even billions of dollars in infrastructure spending, and it's all needing upkeep. And so it needs the training and support to help people keep our infrastructure and keep things running.
So you are the director of the Institute. Could you give us just a brief overview of your duties in that position?
Sure, I am the employee. So at this point, I am the networker, I am the developer, I am the one answering the phone. So it's a bit of jack of all trades. Luckily, right now we have brought on a marketing firm to help along with our visibility. So a lot of the social media aspect of things, it's very time consuming. So luckily we've brought some outside help on for that. But right now I am spending most of my time trying to find out what people need, especially in this time of so much uncertainty. It's an opportunity for us to develop the resources and pull the information together for immediate needs of people. So I've been reaching out to park supervisors. I've been reaching out to other nonprofit organizations to just see how I can help and how we can collaborate. So that's the biggest thing right now.
That seems like a large responsibility to take on. What attracted you to this opportunity?
Uh, I have a my background is from recreation. I was one of the guys out there building ropes courses. So I was one of those hanging in telephone poles and trees and pulling cable in between. And then I kind of got a bug for travel, and I ended up overseas for nearly 10 years. I spent 8 years in Hong Kong in corporate team building and promotional events. So traveled around regions designing events and pulling all of those kind of logistical sides of things together, even across country borders. And so when this opportunity showed up, this is a chance for me to come home because I'm originally Allentown, Pennsylvania area. Went to Nazareth High School, so I grew up Eastern Pennsylvania, and my folks now live in the State College area. They've retired here. So this was a homecoming and an opportunity to get back to my career roots, if you will, as well.
That's great. So where are your offices located?
The PRPS office, that's actually where I'm housed, and that is here in State College, Pennsylvania. So we're in Center County, right outside Penn State. So luckily, I only live a few miles from the office. I have the opportunity to work from home as well as going into the office, especially for meetings and things like that.
Great, great. Let's remind our viewers that if you have any questions for BK during our discussion here, feel free to drop them in the comments and we'll get to them as we see them. So the Institute, how do you know what a park needs?
It's such a wide variety of things. If you will, you have to first go down to your community. And so every park is going to have a unique community, and every community has unique needs. And so that's kind of where I recommend starting, is talking to the stakeholders involved, finding out what is their top priorities, what are the things that they value, and then that way you are serving your community at best. But if you really look at operations in a sense, you always have to have cleaning up. So trash always needs taken out. Grass always needs mowed. There are a lot of the unseen operations that we take for advantage. And so things like plumbing that works, maintaining lights when they turn on when they're supposed to. All of these conveniences that we have nowadays. There are people out there that need to take care of that. And it's a big job of making sure it's very systematic. You're not wasting time, because if you're constantly just reaction, it takes a lot more steps than if you can have a planned path of how you're going to do things and do things before they break, because it's a lot easier and more cost efficient to maintain things than it is to replace.
Absolutely. So what kind of services or programs does the Institute hope to provide for these parks that have the need?
Well, right now, we already have built and are continually developing a knowledge base. So it is, we're eventually going to be a subscription-based website. Right now, everything is available completely free. People can access all of the database and the information we're pulling together, as well as take part in our live resources. So I've been hosting roundtables and have been hosting discussion panels on specific maintenance topics. We've been talking about, there was an immediate need when the COVID crisis kind of really set in, but the grass was starting to mow. And so you're starting to think, well, where can we cut corners? All of our people are furloughed. What do we do? What is our absolute minimum maintenance issues? And so we looked at sport fields, because of course those have the most costly repair kind of things if you let them go too long. And so we focused on that and pulled a panel of experts together, along with our corporate sponsors, Toro, and some of their distributors helped involved in the discussion as well. And then we also looked at open space. So if we don't have the funding to maintain these things, what can we do? Just stop mowing? Well, that's not the best thing either. So, the next way. So that's kind of how I'm approaching things right now, is finding where the biggest questions are at in the industry and where can we fill in those gaps, because I have the time to do the resource and I have the time to reach out to people that are experts that can share their knowledge with everyone. It's in the interests of a community.
Absolutely. So it seems like the Institute mostly works with community parks. What kind of needs do they have?
I'm still learning, if you will. Some people find that you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And so a lot of the times, even in the very, very small municipalities, it may be several municipalities don't even have a park because they don't consider it under their purview, where they have like here in center region, there is the center region that takes care of the maintenance of several parks in the area. And so it's still it's a research game for me right now, is finding out who the right people to talk to are, because you can ask questions of 4 different people in the same municipality, you're going to get 4 different answers too. So if you really boil down to the end user, then you're always, again, going to have the needs of the upkeep, keeping it safe and clean and usable. So it's wonderful if you have a playground, but if none of the swings have the little S hooks on there to keep them safe, it's not a useful amenity anymore. If anything, it's more of a danger and people should not use it. And so that we don't want to have things that become liabilities to our towns and our communities and our parks because we don't keep them up.
So how might the needs and maintenance requirements for a community park differ from a state park?
One of the biggest things I found is the people that are taking care of them change. And so the mindsets change too. The state park system has its way of operating. And so they are consistent amongst their state park controls. But then if you go to a local park that could be even very close to a state park, it would be a completely different experience, because again, they're managed maybe not by a professional that knows how to focus specifically on park maintenance. Maybe it's also the person that is filling the holes in the road and is also fixing the lights at City Hall and is also maintaining all the street signs. And so the priorities change depending on, again, your boss, if you will, because not everyone is also organized by a park director. So there's agencies that there are a park director system, and then there's direct management of the maintenance of those things, and then there may be just lumped all into public works, or it may even just be lumped into operations for the township, and it's organized by a council of individuals that show up once a week or once a month for a meeting, right? So, but everyone needs the knowledge and the resources. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is create that hub so that people, if they have questions and they have specific park resource kind of questions, they don't have to Google it themselves. It's all in one catch.
Gotcha. Now, we know that the state parks are seeing record visitation during the COVID-19 pandemic. What are you seeing in community parks, and how does that usage translate to what the Institute does?
Well, I would say one of the biggest things you're seeing is just traffic increase. And I think people then are realizing the impacts of all of that traffic. So if there's more usage, there is more wear and tear of all of the parking lots. There's more wear and tear of all of uh, the trails and everything that is being used at that point in time. And then you also have to think, are we mitigating people playing basketball or all these other kind of, if you will, noise, things that are taking away from the focus of maintaining this health and safety of things. And so you'll find, in my opinion, people are going to realize the value of, I don't have time to do my old way of training, because I used to just take people out in the cart and then they learn from shadowing and then you learn from doing, and that's the most efficient way to do it. Well, maybe you don't have the time for those sort of things anymore. And so we need to think about how people learn. You know, maybe people learn better in different aspects. Some people learn better by reading. Some people learn better by doing. Some people learn better by watching videos. And so you need to have multiple aspects of media and multiple aspects of learning tools for your folks. And you don't have the time to make all that up. And so that is going to be one of the biggest changes we're going to see is, and all of our knowledge and all of the resources and all the expertise that currently is there are maybe in a population of the individuals that are about to retire themselves, or they are the folks that they don't like using technology. They don't like, they do it the old way. Either they wrote it down or it's in their heads. And so we have to figure out how to transition that knowledge. And how can we do that? Is by having conversations and by getting them to share their information, share all of that with people. That's what I'm finding. I go out and I love meeting people. I like talking with people, and I like to just get to know people. And as I've been learning more about the industry and the folks that we're doing, and that the maintenance folks, they're all good people, and they are in it for the goods of their community. But again, they may not necessarily always learn the way that the next generation is going to learn, and so that transition is going to be hard. And so we need tools and we need opportunities to help that transition. We have to get those conversations going. So that's what we're trying to do with the roundtables, and that's what we're trying to do with these more. Right now it's virtual, but we would like to go towards field days and having these kinds of experiences in person, where people get to touch stuff, people get to learn and do stuff together. So here's how we fix the infield of the baseball. Here's how you prune properly, put the tool in people's hands and do it at a regional level, because that's something that hasn't happened. Everything professional wise is annual conferences or quarterly conferences, and they're really big deals, where at the local park level, they don't have time to go spend a week at Seven Springs. They don't have the funding to send the entire crew away for all day, so they're willing, and they also are not willing to pay overtime. So you need to do things within a work day. You need to do things within the work week. And you need to be more appreciative. Just say thank you to the folks that are supporting our communities.
Great. So what role can non-staff members, friends, volunteers play in meeting the needs of the parks?
Be an ally. That's a term that we like to use in many different fashions, but I think that's one of the most important things to remember is being a park user is also being a park ally. And don't be a user. Throw things away, help take care of our parks. Enjoy and feel it's a something that we have an opportunity, as opposed to something that we are entitled. That's one of the first things, is just being thankful for our communities and what we have. Beyond that, I mean, getting involved, finding out there are lots of friends groups. There are lots of different kinds of community groups that get together, specifically focusing on helping the parks and helping trail maintenance, and because it's something that they enjoy and they recreate, and so they want to help give back, and that's great. It's not always a funding thing. I would say your time is probably just as valuable as a dollar.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now if a park wants to get involved or needs your help with something, how do they contact you?
Well, you can find me. Our website is obviously a good way to start right now. I can see going across the bottom, that's our website. You can email me directly. It's just bk@prps.org. And I'm always open to new ideas. I'm always looking for new presenters, because I like to try to have at least once a month some sort of virtual event. Whether it be a roundtable or a panel, but I'm also looking for, what do people need? I don't know what people don't know until they tell me. And that's one of those things that I can only put as much material in our website and in our database as I can find. But if I'm not getting feedback on whether it's valuable or whether something else is needed, you don't know. So please be brutally honest with me. You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Is there any other information you'd like to share with our viewers about the Park Maintenance Institute?
We are, as I said, we're growing and intending to host things in the fall. Again, that's all going to be whether or not we're allowed to host things in the fall. And so everything's kind of up in the air. But we are trying to organize field days that are specifically focusing on park maintenance issues. Again, like baseball field maintenance was one of the requests, more on the western side of the state. I know on the eastern side of the state, some of the folks I've talked to is more on the landscaping, horticultural, pruning kind of things, and some of the folks that I'm looking at hosting, like in the Northampton area. Here in the center region, I haven't gotten any definitive answers yet, but we are looking at 3 events in the fall, ideally in October. So that's something that is growing. We will be officially launching the website in September, October as well. So that's when we're going to be trying to get the subscription aspect of things going. Additionally, I'm in the process of eventually growing towards a certificate program. So we're creating curriculum focusing specifically on park maintenance aspects. And so looking towards having a stamp of approval as a maintenance professional, And so that's an longer term goal that I'm shooting for right now. Right now, short term goals, visibility. So like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on LinkedIn. Um, so I'm trying to grow that aspect and to get us out there. And I'm also trying to network and create those connections. We're looking at potentially creating a strategic partnership with CAFMO, which is the Keystone Association for Field Managers, and they're affiliate of the STMA, which is their national, so it's, Sports Turf Managers Association. So along with that, I've been trying to write, so I have been getting articles. Recently, it was posted in PRPS's quarterly magazine. So just writing about essential strategies to maintenance. So thinking more on that high level strategy side of things.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, BK. We'll be sure to keep an eye on the Park Maintenance Institute and all the great work you'll be doing.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time and thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the Institute and invite everyone to please get in touch with me and let's see how we can collaborate together.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.